Welcome to the Sneaking into the Movies podcast. I'm Max Nathan.
And I'm Norma Davis. And Max, October is upon us. So what do you say we sneak into the spookies this month?
I'd say that sounds delightful, Norman. That's why we're talking about 5 spooky movies this month. Norman, what are we talking about today?
Well, Max, I like to try and kind of dress up the set now that we're on video here. And I didn't have anything from this particular movie, so I thought I'd just open my window and let this bright, hot Texas sun come in. Because we are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sneak in with us, and let's go.
I like to consider myself a pretty big horror guy. I've seen all the icons. I've seen Jason, I've seen Mike Myers, the Xenomorph, etc., etc. There's one big blind spot that's always been shining over me. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Have you seen this movie before, Max?
I had never seen this movie before.
Yeah, we're some Texas boys, grass-fed, born and raised, and we've never seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, what a better way to start this spooky some months with a classic that neither of us had seen. And meet this guy Leatherface I've been hearing so much about all my life. I've seen him in the Fortnite item shop. So what's this guy's deal, man? He's in Fortnite. I gotta watch this movie.
That's why we watch all movies, by the way. If there's a Fortnite, item dedicated to this movie, we're gonna watch that movie.
And we buy them all. Max will be buying the Tron Ares Fortnite bundle next week.
I'll be buying all of it. The K-pop Demon Hunter's already in my library. All right.
You got them?
No, I'm just fucking around.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought about getting one of them. They kind of look like perfect Fortnite skins.
I would get Rumi if I were to get one of them.
I would
just
also get Rumi.
Yeah, the main one, basically. But
oh no, I wouldn't. I'd get a Mira. I think
Mira's the one with the pink hair.
The one with the long hair, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm staying strong right now. They got Scooby Doo coming to Fortnite this month, so I'm gonna waste my money on that instead.
Yeah, it's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be life changing. Now, back to Leatherface. So yeah, we had both never seen this movie. This is an iconic Texas movie. Is it the most iconic Texas movie? I don't know. Maybe. It's
certainly with Texas in the name.
That is true. I didn't really know anything about this movie. I kind of tend to generally not stay away from, but I don't usually gravitate towards horror movies that I think are going to have a heavy emphasis on the violence and the gore. Because movies that do that and kind of seem to only do that aren't typically the things that I really, really want to see. I don't gravitate towards that stuff. That's why I haven't seen Saw or Final Destination yet. Not a single one in those franchises. I know I got to get to work. And I usually, come away. I've seen a lot of these movies and I like them. They're just not movies that I typically seek out, is what I'm trying to say here.
Sure.
I thought this movie was fantastic. I mean, this movie is like the blueprint for the horror movie as we know it today, I would think. Not to say that it's the first horror movie, but it is a lot of the tropes that we see in modern horror are represented in this Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And, it has the classic setup where these kids are going away to one of their friend's grandfather's house, just chilling and going on vacation in Texas. So yeah, and then they stumble upon some funky stuff and they meet the Leatherface man. Norman, what are your thoughts about the whole setup of the movie and just getting settled into the initial setup of the movie? What were you thinking?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This really does feel like the godfather of most horror movies now. Like you said, like the group of youngins go on a little trip to do whatever they're going to do. And shit goes south because there's something weird going on wherever they're going. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. It was interesting. I was hooked when they picked up oh my God, I'm forgetting the word, hitchhiker.
Yeah.
It was like some extra weird's going on here.
Yeah.
So part of me just kind of thought this movie, it was just going to be like Leatherface and Leatherface only, just coming around being a dick. But it was a little more than that. So
yeah,
I was hooked. I liked it. It reminded me of like 500 different movies that have all come after it. So,
What are some of those movies?
just off the top of my head, did you ever see X?
I did. I was
Uh,
thinking about X a
I was
lot.
thinking
Yeah.
about that. That X feels like a remake of this movie, and
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, just so many movies like that where it's just a group of kids going to do something, and then everyone just gets killed.
Yeah.
You got your final girl. Not to jump the gun here, but yeah, a lot of tropes that you see in a lot of horror now. So it was very cool. I was hooked.
Yeah.
The movie the whole movie looks really nice, but just from the
It
start,
looks fantastic.
it looks fantastic. This movie's made on a pretty shoestring budget, which I think we'll talk about more after we talk about the actual movie. But you can tell that no dollar went to waste with this one.
Yeah. I mean, talk about the budget a little bit. Go for it.
So this movie was made for $140,000, which in today money is around $700,000.
Still,
Which is
not a lot to make a movie.
Not a lot, no. I mean, you go to more festivals and stuff than me, but I could probably count the number of movies I've seen made for less than $1 million, like on my hand in the last 5 years. None that ever really got this like big. I'd say the biggest one of the last 5 years is probably Skinamarink, and that's still incredibly niche in the general scope of horror and everything.
Yeah. The one that jumps to mind for me is Hard Truths, the latest Mike Nichols film, I believe. Is it Mike Nichols? Let me just do some quick
I think those
research.
Terrifier movies too were made for pretty. Or at least
Yeah,
the first
those-
one was made for nothing.
Yeah,
I don't really like those movies, but I can commend that there.
Mike Lee, Hard Truths, the last Mike Lee film, was made for a couple $100,000 as well, which again is kind of it's inspiring more than anything that you can do this kind of thing at such a low budget. It's really something that anybody can jump in on. It's pretty inspiring in that sense. But yeah, and they're the story of this movie is very it's very independent. It's very there's lots of stuff about this movie that you hear that you're like, whoa, like they're doing a lot of this stuff for real. Like, for example, did you know that when you see a lot of the dead animal corpses throughout the Leatherface estate, if you will.
Sure.
A lot of those dead animals are real, which is pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it's a little gross, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you're out here in Texas, especially if you're in those far off places. Obviously, we live in pretty big cities, but
Yep.
yeah, there's dead animals everywhere. It's pretty gross and it smells, and I just feel. I mean, personally, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't just go drag a deer now.
I ain't
need
never
some
been in a
bones.
house like that. I'll just say
Oh
that.
no, I've never been in no house like that. But yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. Like, I love the best thing about these small budget movies for people like us is like reading about, oh my god, how to do this, how to do that, all this stuff. Yeah, real cool.
So they had some some real dead animals and rotting food in that house, and it was over 100 degrees on a lot of days because they are in Texas. And supposedly the smell in that house was so crazy that people would go, leave the house, vomit, and come back in to do their scenes. Edwin Neal, the guy who played the hitchhiker, said, filming the dinner scene was the worst time of his life. And he said, and I quote, "And I had been in Vietnam with people trying to kill me. So I guess that shows how bad it was."
I can't imagine. That was the
yeah.
nastiest looking dinner. Just the worst, the last place I'd ever want to be in my life. Sitting there with Leatherface in the gang.
Yep.
So, yeah, it gets hot. I mean, a lot of people don't know. Usually, I mean, that house definitely didn't have AC. But
No,
when
it
you
did
shoot
not.
stuff, you don't have any sound on at all because microphones are so sensitive. So when you're shooting something in Texas, I know you've shot stuff here. I worked on a movie in Texas during the summer, and it was hell most days because we would be shooting in a house with the AC off, and it would be 101 degrees outside. It's 106 degrees inside. And you got 20, 30, even more people in that house with you. It is miserable.
There are really, it's not a walk in the park filming stuff down here. There's a lot of special considerations you have to make. Like, for example, like, I prioritized when I bought my first camera, I prioritized getting a camera that had like a fan built into it because I know that, it's gonna be fucking hot down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that's
I worked on
tough, but
movie
is what it is.
Stitched, which everyone should check out when you can
Yep.
check it out. But it was life changing experience, feature film, very cool. And in the movie, we burned down a house, and we actually ended up doing that. But we got like this close enough. We did it on the last day. We were supposed to do it like even before halfway through production, but the fire department kept being like, "It's too hot. It's too hot." Like burn warning, burn warning, burn warning. It was
Yeah.
like a miracle that we got to. And yeah, that camera, 'cause I was on the camera team. It was fucking brutal. It was so damn hot. Like when we shoot outside or inside and we have to switch out a lens or I have to pick it up and take it somewhere else. This big giant RE camera, which has fans and stuff in it and all these intricacies. Just so hot. So I can't imagine what it was like filming any of this stuff.
Yeah, especially like indoors too is when you get it gets all
It's
stuffy,
worse than
this body
outdoors.
heat.
Because at least outdoors, yeah, you get like air and stuff. But when you're indoors, like that's all condensed heat and air.
Yeah.
And it's so muggy. It is beyond terrible.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot hotter than it was back in the 70s. So
Yes.
maybe we have it a
Yeah.
little harder here too. But not actually. Yeah, it's very impressive. And I feel for them watching
Yeah,
that.
I think it really brings out like the movie has a what I'd call grime to it that really comes across when you watch the movie and then when you hear these stories about production and how much of a nightmare all of this stuff was. It kind of makes sense. It comes across in the picture like it looks like just a dirty, grimy movie. Just a nasty film. And that's really cool. I think, that house is obviously pretty gnarly. There's just dead bodies, Sally is the final girl. Yes. Yeah. When Sally's running up the stairs and she sees the two corpses in the upstairs bedroom, it seemed like, yeah, that's some pretty gross stuff.
Just like the last place you would want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, all that grass too is so damn itchy. I kept thinking about that when she was just running around. Or I can't remember his name for the life of me, but the guy in the wheelchair,
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
him trying to get around.
Yeah.
Yeah, just brutal. I mean, just a really, yeah, like you said, the cheapness is the wrong word, but it just makes it feel so much more authentic and awful and like, oh my god. Because I thought with this movie, I didn't kind of talk about at the start. I thought it would just kind of be like a slasher, like you'd be getting gnarly kills, and you don't really get that in this movie. I'd say 1-2 characters die on screen.
There's only one character that gets killed by a chainsaw in Texas Chainsaw
only one.
Massacre.
Yeah.
There's a
So I think
couple
a
of there's a couple people that die on screen. Actually, no, they kind of just get bonked and then
They get bonked and then they're just assume that they got cut up. The hitchhiker gets hit by a truck, but that's not a Leatherface thing.
He got fucked up too. Like
he
was
got uber fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I really think that just level of like grime and disgustingness and like you could feel the heat radiating during the day and all those branches she was running into, like that adds to like the fear where it's not like
she was actually cut multiple times in real life by the branches.
Oh,
so,
I 1,000%. I can't even imagine when she was running around at night. I was like, oh
yeah, a lot of the blood on her clothing is real. So again, nasty film, grimy, like just an absolute, tough it out picture, I guess you could call it. And that's pretty cool. I mean, it sounds like a grueling process, obviously, but we're talking about this movie in 2025. We're 20 years old. This movie came out in 1974.
We outlived both of us.
Yeah.
They're gonna make 100 more.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made like 10 more.
Yeah.
And Glenn Powell's working on one right now. So,
which we are pro, right? Are you pro?
Yeah, I'm pro that.
Yeah, I would be.
I want to check out the other ones. I've heard the second one's pretty good.
Yeah.
I actually heard the Netflix one wasn't awful, which usually Netflix and anything is pretty awful. So I might
You
right
heard
at the
it
time.
wasn't awful? I heard it was like notoriously awful. I heard it was
I guess I've heard mixed things, but enough to where like usually when something like that is like a mixed thing, I'm probably gonna enjoy it. Um, I don't know. We got a big spooky project we got to get through that I'm not gonna spoil here. But if I have the time, I'm gonna try and watch some more Texas Chainsaws.
yeah.
I also just really liked Leatherface. I mean, obviously I'd seen that design before, but just this giant, imposing dude.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
really big dude.
he's a big boy, and he that just adds to the how scary it is. Like even when he's
Yeah.
turned around, you just see him like this is a giant dude. Like I don't know. I'm gonna ask you this question. You think you're making it out?
I
I
think
feel like
I
out of
feel
all the horror icons, he'd be probably the easiest to get away from.
I agree. I totally agree with you, and that's kind of one of the, if you were gonna be a dick about it, like you could say like, oh, they could have gotten away so easily. Like, yeah, he's a guy running around with a chainsaw. Chainsaws are pretty heavy. Like he probably couldn't have run that fast. And
I
also,
mean, like
like, yeah,
a lot of the group that he like ends up killing, it's just they're looking at something else and he walks behind him and bonks him. I don't know how I'm gonna tank that, but I feel like if I was I sound like a dumbass. I feel like if I was face to face with Leatherface and he just revved up that chainsaw and I started running, I feel like I could probably
yeah,
beat him. But he's so
yeah.
big, the second he's got his hands on me, it's over.
You're like the Mark Wahlberg of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
If
if I
you
was
were there,
there,
it wouldn't have gone that way.
mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, I think also like there's some things that are like you're really gonna go into that house. You're really gonna like just walk into the house for no. It makes more sense, with the girl and then the guy that comes looking for them. Like the second and third time, it's like okay, they're looking for their friends. The first guy who walks in, it's like,
Oh, just like
dude,
complete fucking idiot. But
yeah,
I feel like that's one of those tropes that kind of started here.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, just like motherfucker like me, I see that house, I'm good.
yeah.
I'm good.
I mean,
I'll walk home. I don't need gas that bad.
yeah, and I thought like if that guy doesn't walk into the house, does any of this even happen? And I thought to myself, you know,
I think it does though. I think Leatherface just
okay,
comes to them because I mean, uh, the gas station owner, the dad knew
the
where
family they were
the
after them. Yeah,
hitchhiker. Um, do you think he was really trying to write something on the van, or it was just blood?
I think it was just blood. I think he was just trying to, freak him out a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of think it was nothing too.
Okay.
I appreciated that this movie kind of had no supernatural kind of element to it, which is maybe why it would be easiest to beat Leatherface because someone like Mike Myers, like it doesn't make sense, like some of the stuff he does. I know they always have like reasons for it, but like he can pretty much teleport. Same with like Jason and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, Leatherface, it's just a dude with his chainsaw and his disgusting family of freaks.
yeah. It's kind of refreshing how I would say blunt the filmmaking is. I think
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of contemporary horror movies, you get like if we were doing Leatherface 2025, there would be a huge musical buildup. I feel like to the reveal of Leatherface, and then a big loud bang like when he shows up. And in this movie from 1974, he just kind of shows up. He just opens the door and goes to work. He's
Yeah,
like,
I was just like, oh, he's here now.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh shit, there he is. I appreciate that. I thought that was really cool. And I kind of
Is this pre
missed that.
Jaws?
Gotta be right.
I think Jaws was like, I'm gonna search this up real quick. I know
Yeah.
Jaws was like the 70s also. This was a year before Jaws.
Okay.
So I have no way to fact check this, but I feel like a lot of that comes from Jaws and like the suspense in that. Not that Jaws is the first suspenseful horror movie.
I think no,
but
but I think you're onto something there. I think there's clearly something with the dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's all there.
like you're waiting for something to happen, but it's not like you're watching Mike Myers for a minute and a half just going like this with this knife behind someone or something like
No.
that.
Yeah, it's like in this movie you're kind of most of the time wondering where is he? Is he here? Is he behind that thing? Where is he? And when he shows up, he's just there. Like I really liked. I think the most effective Leatherface appearance was when they're walking through the trees and stuff and they're shining the light, and then the guy's like, you hear something out there? And then he's just like right there. He's just
Yeah.
like, pretty cool. Don't know how they didn't hear the loud chainsaw, but you know,
All that yelling.
pretty cool moment.
A lot
Yeah,
of yelling in this movie.
a lot
Last
of yelling.
30 minutes, there's someone screaming every second of the movie.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, talk about scream queen. Like, Sally is the ultimate scream queen.
I know. Can you imagine all those cuts in the heat, and you're also just screaming for however many days? They just had her pretty much screaming for 7 or 8 hours.
That's what I was thinking about. I was like, your voice would just probably stop working at a certain point, wouldn't it? Like, that seems like a crazy amount of screaming. Even in the condensed, edited movie, it was a long duration of screaming, and she's screaming for even longer, as you said.
I mean, pretty much the entire third act, which usually with movies, the third act is the most, not just like action movies, but most movies in general, I feel like the third act is always like the hardest to film or the longest or like we put in the most. So yeah, just like, I can't imagine her just screaming for probably at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Just coming to set, screaming, cutting yourself, smelling rotten food around dead animal bones. Just, ugh, ugh, ugh.
Yeah. I think I also like, what do you think about the family in this movie? The Leatherface family.
I liked them. I thought it was interesting. I'm glad if this came out today, there'd be some big backstory about why they are that way. And
Yes.
Like
Yes,
the
there
grandpa
would be.
touched all of them or something like that. So that, I'm glad it just seems like they're just a group of fucking freaks who eat people and cut people up for whatever reason.
Because those people exist. I mean, that shit is out there, and there doesn't need to be a huge, long backstory for why everybody got to be the way they are. Some people are just fucking nuts, and you're not gonna find out why.
Yeah, or like everything's like a sympathetic villain now. I feel like even now, like with real people, like I don't remember that guy's name. The guy who makes all those Netflix shows about serial killers, where you're supposed to
Ryan
essentially
Murphy?
Ryan Murphy, like all those shows where you're just supposed to feel bad for these awful people, and they make up this big, just narrative. I'm like, I don't need that.
I got a bunch. I got a bunch of. I think those serial killer shows are not great on a number of levels, but yeah,
Not
no,
even
that-
just like I've
different
never watched
story.
any of them. I don't know about the filmmaking, but yeah, like it is weird that like these are like real people who had real victims, and like we're glorifying it. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
Not that Leatherface is real, or if they gave him some tragic backstory, it would be real. But
I believe Leatherface was inspired by Ed Gein, though, who was a serial killer.
yeah,
Let me fact check
but
that
he
real
just
quick.
did that for the love of the game. It wasn't
Yeah.
like he was doing some ritual or whatever. He was just a big old freak with some freak dad, freak grandpa. Yeah, I miss those simpler times because I swear every horror movie now there's got to be some. No one can just be pure evil.
Yeah, I think that similar to how this movie is just an absolute, just this is like the pinnacle of horror filmmaking in 1974 probably, and just a hugely inspirational movie for what was to come after that. I think there's a lot of modern horror movies that do the backstory thing at an exceptional level.
Oh yeah, no, there's.
And is
I'm
the
not saying
reason,
they're all bad or something I hate, but I just hate when everything feels like.
Yes.
Specifically with horror, it has to be like, well, they're like this because like their parents did this to them, or they got bullied
Yeah.
a lot, or their pet turtle died, or
Yeah. It's very trend based. I think that, if I were to describe the last decade-ish of horror filmmaking and maybe even filmmaking, we're in the Get Out era of movies. I feel like Get Out was just, and obviously there's a lot of movies that
the
kind of
psychological horror
defined what was to come, but I think Get Out is just the ultimate movie of the 2010s that kind of after Get Out everything changed. I feel like
I'd argue it might be Hereditary.
I think that's part of it too. I think
both,
there's a bunch of different things in the pie, but I think that Get Out was just the absolute, and that movie is a movie that goes into like there's so much lore to Get Out. There's this huge backstory with the Armitage family, and there's there's even like YouTube theory videos about the lore in Get Out. Like it's that out there. This is obviously much simpler, and I kind of appreciate this as well. And I feel like we could use bring some more of this into the contemporary as well, because like we said, this shit is real. There's a bunch of people that'll kill you, and you're never gonna find out why. And that's also part of the human condition. I think that's it's all an exploration of the human condition. And there are some people who go through, trauma that define them, and they ultimately do some bad things. And there are also some people who are just nuts. It happens.
Yeah,
it's also part of it.
There's damn near 8 billion of us now. It can't all be perfect.
Yeah.
Just hope they're not next door.
Yes. So yeah, do you think you could have escaped the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
When I put him with his peers, like Freddy Krueger, Jason, Mike Myers, the Xenomorph. Who am I missing here?
Jaws.
The shark from Jaws. Man, I don't know if I could deal with that, but I feel like he would be the easiest to get away from. I'm totally missing some. I guess any of Ghostface.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be tough because Ghostface, it's personal. So like, if I'm getting killed by Ghostface, it's like someone I know.
You wronged.
They probably know how to. Yeah. But I feel like out of all those guys, I feel like Leatherface, I can maybe take him. What about you? Do you think one of those guys I named, or anyone else you can think of in the?
I think I could get away from Leatherface. Leatherface would be easy. As far as like if we were doing a tier list of like easiest horror icons to get away from, Leatherface would be one of the easiest. I feel like.
Yeah.
You're not getting away from the Xenomorph. Like that's just not happening.
No, or like Mike Myers or Jason. Like those guys can
yeah.
teleport. Freddy Krueger's in your dreams.
Yeah.
That. Leatherface is just a dude, just a big dude, big, disgusting looking freak with a chainsaw.
Yeah, and also about Leatherface, he wears a bunch of different leather faces in the movie. At one point he's wearing one with like some makeup on the cheeks and things like that. And supposedly the idea behind that was like he can't emote. There's nothing behind the mask, and he changes faces to convey that emotion that he can't convey. He also has no speaking lines. He just kind of like just
grunts.
Yeah, exactly. He's just kind of like going off. And they would tell him, Leatherface, I believe, does have lines in the script, or at least they told him lines on set, but he would have to convey the lines in a way that was through complete gibberish. Sounds like a pretty fun part. Sounds pretty interesting. And that's I think that's kind of a cool concept with the whole like him changing faces, because he can't express that emotion. He's incapable of it. And it kind of makes him a scarier horror villain, I think.
They're also all, I'm pretty sure those are like people's faces.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the idea. Yeah.
I think that, I thought it was leather, but then they brought it up and I was like, oh. So yeah, that does just make him scarier. Like,
yeah. I thought at one point that he might have been wearing the face of one of the people he killed in the movie. Like, I was like, oh, is he going to put on one of their face? Like, that's going to be fucking gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, we've been talking about, the some of the violence in the movie, but the movie, like we said, it kind of dances around the violence in a pretty elegant way, I think. Like, it doesn't go really all the way ever. Like, you never really like see blood and guts everywhere. It's kind of like when it does happen,
you never see a chainsaw like go through someone. Like,
no, you don't.
You see it from behind, but yeah, which I appreciate, because this movie was still. I mean, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it or nothing, but it was still. It was just gross. I think that's the best way to put it.
I think it makes it a little bit more interesting that way though, because I've never seen anybody get put up on a meat hook in a movie. Like that was pretty nuts.
And watch your boyfriend get cut up.
Yeah. Boyfriend gets cut up, and then she ends up in the freezer a little later, and she's still alive in the freezer after being meat hooked.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's rough stuff. Yeah, no, pretty crazy movie, this Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Did you know that the opening narrator, John Larroquette, was paid in a marijuana joint to do the opening narration of the movie?
I didn't, but that is awesome.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff there.
That's how you make a movie for $120,000.
Yep. There you go.
No, I love these smaller budget movies and just learning about how they made them. I mean, I feel like we ended up talking about it for half the time because we're in Texas, so we know how hot it is to try and shoot anything here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're aspiring filmmakers, so it's really cool to see what you can do on a shoestring budget. And like we said, like $140,000 is still $700,000 now, but like we still get these cheap horror movies that break through the mold. Like as much as I don't like those Terrifier movies, they are huge. That is Art the Clown.
Art the Clown. Yeah. That's
Art the
his
Clown
name.
is a horror icon now, just straight up. I mean, like I said, he's gonna outlive all of us in the same way Leatherface will, and there's gonna be people trying to make Art the Clown movies forever. Like I said, Skinamarink. That movie cost, I think, $100,000.
Something. I'd be shocked if it was even $100,000.
I think it might have been 10. I might have to fact check that, but that's the scariest movie I've seen in the last 5 years. Honestly, maybe ever.
That's a more like ethereal.
Oh, for sure.
Horror as well. That's just like tapped into something in the brain. It's able to click, but without really that much actually happening. It just gets under your skin, that movie.
I didn't sleep after I saw that movie. Just straight up. Like I was
wild.
up for an entire night. That was like, yeah, that just like tapped into a part of my brain, like a fear of like a childhood fear.
Yeah.
That just, I forgot was there, I guess, because I'm an adult now. I don't worry about that stuff. But, yeah, it's really cool. Anything else on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Max?
I think we're good. I mean, this was a really good movie, I thought.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you probably have. Go watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is one of the better movies I've seen this year. Very cool. This is one I'm going to be hitting probably yearly, maybe bi-yearly around this time of year. I'm going to try to watch more of them. Big fan. But Leatherface, you ain't got shit on me. Pull up. I'm in Texas. You know where to find me.
Yeah. This is Leatherface's personal invitation to pull up on the Sneaking Into the Spookies podcast.
I would love to grunt with him about his favorite horror movies. And I want to ask him, like, does he think he could take on a Xenomorph or Jason or you Freddy Fazbear?
Yeah. Do you think you could take on this podcast?
Me? Or
Could he be a guest on this podcast?
I would be happy to have him. We do this on Zoom, so he's not going to pull up and sit next to me, but he can zoom in. I don't need any of that.
No.
I'd be more than happy to have him though.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be our Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We will be doing these weekly, these little Sneaking Into the Spookies episodes.
Still have our big movie of the week episode coming out. Max, you want to tell them what it is?
Not yet. We'll give them hints. We'll give them hints weekly. But for next week, the hint will be: it's a bird, it's a plane, it's something.
Not what you think it is, but
not what you might think.
Before that, we'll be back for Tron Ares.
Yep.
Big release movie episode.
Yep.
Max is over the moon excited.
I couldn't be more excited for this film. Truly. I mean,
only because it's in Fortnite. That's why he's excited.
That's the only reason.
But yeah, I guess thanks for spooking in with us, and we will see y'all next week.
Peace.